Welcome back to Celebrity Radio. It's Alex Belfield here with one of my favourite people, a big star, Noel Fielding. How are you?
How are you? I'm good, thanks.
What's it like to be a sex symbol and very cool?
Not sure on either of those things anymore. I think I had like 2 minutes where I was slightly cool and slightly a sex symbol, and it was fun. I think I got voted the sexiest man of the year by NME.
Well, even this year in GQ, I think they're saying you're the best dressed or something like that. Does this surprise you? Because that's not what you came into the business for, was it?
I think
really?
I'm number 32. I was number 2 at one point. I'm slipping horrendously down the charts.
What is it, the Christmas jumper or
Elton
something?
John's higher than me in the charts. Let's not get too... And Romeo Beckham. Let's not get too excited.
She's the best-selling female artist in British history, and she's joining us here. Petula Clark, how are you?
Well, thank you. I would have thought Adele must have beaten that by now.
How dare you? She's no Petula Clark.
Well, no, she's not. But no, but I'm not Adele either.
Well, children do change you. Whether they're your children or they're somebody else's children, they change you. And I cast my mind back many years, and I think of the men and the women who invested in me and believed in me and defended in me. They defended me, you know, but they saw something within me, and they backed me and they forgave me. And that's our job. When we get to a certain age in life and we've realised our dreams, bang, let's inspire the young. Let's take the young by the hand and let's guide them. Because the best advice you can give a young person is make sure you put your career into the hands of somebody who's going to respect you and guide you and protect you and hand you over when your time is up with them.
I'm just a simple London boy from Lewisham, you know what I mean? I was born in Lewisham Hospital, and she was my anchor. You know, it doesn't matter. Like, I'll still walk into it. You know, I have beautiful hotel rooms, and I travel in style, and I'm just... Nothing matters quite as much as it did when Mum was around, because Mum was the one that was genuinely interested in my life, and she saw the good in me,
And no agenda, of course. That's the thing about mums. They're not playing the game like people are in the business.
Well, I have to be honest with you, mate. I don't really have to. I don't worry about an agenda, because most people I attract have already found their own skin. I'm very, very comfortable in my skin now, as you are. I can see, you know, and you know you're so easy to talk to, and that's because you're a man. You know where you are, and there's no getting away from it now. We're old bastards, and we're still keeping ourselves in shape. I box for 14 years now. I box 3 times a week, and I keep myself very able-bodied.
Do I look sane? Oh, well, I'll absolutely.
Did you ever think there'd be a more depressing day that you could go on an app and get McDonald's delivered? That's got to be concerning, because that just leaves temptation late at night to people who have perhaps had a drink, who know no better.
I think it's shocking. I think it's incredibly sad. And it just goes to show that despite the fact that there are people in poverty, which is criminal that there are lots of people who are spending their money completely inappropriately and making themselves overweight and unhealthy. What they don't realise, they're enjoying it now because they're young and they're sort of maybe in their their teens, their 20s, 30s, 40s, and it may be that they're getting away with it.
And then in my research, I was watching you interviewed by Nigel Havers. Do you remember he came round to your house?
Yeah.
And the last 15 minutes was on the bed. Now, it just so happens... Ollie, you wouldn't believe what went on that bed. That was a good interview, wasn't it? This doesn't even compare.
I've never seen this interview, David Shirley.
You were very naughty.
I was naughty. Nigel was.
How many times did you kiss each other? It must have been 340 times.
Well, on the mouth?
Well, on the cheek, on the mouth, everywhere. Haven't you seen it? I'll send you the link. It's outrageous. Every time I sit down with you, I normally say this has been the best year of your life. I said it last year when I saw this for the first time. It is so spectacular. It's so grand. It's so beautiful. It's so well produced. And then we look at this year. I mean, on a personal level, it's been really incredible. Let's talk about Johnny to start with. It seems like he's turned a corner and things are getting better. Am I right in thinking that?
Well, Johnny's doing great. I mean, he has technically about, he's next December 2018 will be when he's completed his chemo treatment, because he does it every single day. And he was just with me. He had to go back for a lumbar puncture procedure. But Johnny's doing good. I mean, Johnny is 3.5 now. And I just pray to God that once he's through his treatment, that he stays in remission, because there are children that I know that have a condition like Johnny, but not as severe, that had a relapse. And so I just hope and pray that when Johnny gets through this, he'll be like most of the children, the high percentage of children that never have a relapse of pediatric cancer, because that would just, I mean, I don't know what I'll do. I'll lose my mind if that happens. That would be the saddest thing, because I'd rather take the cancer. I'd rather take any disease than my innocent child who should be worrying about what toy he should play with, rather than dealing with needles and chemo and blood transfusions and lumbar punctures and all of that stuff. It's just a horrible thing. And I got even a greater dosage of it because I did shows in Argentina. I performed for 20,000 people in Argentina. It was incredible. But one of the things I want to do in each place that I go to is I want to visit the pediatric hospitals there. And I had the opportunity to go there, and I saw, like, we don't realize that our hospitals and our care and our treatment in the States, and probably even in the UK, is significant. I mean, you go to these other places and you realize, wow, this is even more difficult to deal with, you know? So we're doing some work, donated some money from the Johnny Christopher Foundation. We're gonna raise a lot more money. We're gonna have another help event in 2018. So I'm hoping to really dig in deep and make a difference in these kids that are dealing with this horrendous disease, and hopefully we can make a small difference.
I remember what it was to meet somebody, and they were very special. I knew what it was like to meet a celebrity, and I thought, really? You can't take 5 seconds? And I won't ever name names, but the ones that were gracious, they will forever be honored by me.
And equally, the ones that are not nice, you'll never forget.
It's like, you know, then don't leave your house.
Right.
You know, if you don't have time for somebody, don't be there, because they're the ones that made you who you are. And the minute you forget that, it's not good.
Right. You know, and if you handle it right, we can kind of bring some humor and bring some mirth and merriment out of Donald Trump.
I'm a very low rent interviewer, as you will have already worked out. If, for example, I had the opportunity to meet Donald Trump, do you think he'd be impressed with these questions, or do you think he'd find me obnoxious?
I would think that you're British, which he loves. The British people are tremendous. You know, you invented the English language, which I use every day. I use the best words. The best words. I put them in incredible order. You're tall. You have a great look. You look like Bradley Cooper, by the way. I like him. Very handsome. Dating a model, I think. I dated a model. So I think you do very, very well with him. Very well, I have to tell you.
John D. Domenico, thank you so much for your time. It was an honor meeting you.
Pleasure. Great meeting you too, man.
I suppose it's what you make of it. You know, some people would look at that and go, "Oh, that's boring. You're boring." But other people, family people, would go, "You're not." And I don't know. I like to hit a medium between it. Me and my wife like going out together and like going out with our friends and stuff. But yeah, it's I definitely do not crave the single getting laid, as you put it, life.
I know I certainly have a way with words, don't I? Help me with then how you keep it exciting in the bedroom and not boring, because the first time you put your hand down the top, it's magical. The second time, not so much.
Well, I think your problem there is you're starting and ending at the top. There's stuff down from that. That's much more exciting.
All right, let's talk about your new life as a father then. I don't quite get it. I love my godkids. I love my nephew, but my God, they smell and they go to the toilet a lot and they have windy pops and bodily functions, all of which I don't want anything to do with. Why have you chosen to have a baby then?
Well, do you know what it is? I feel that about other people's kids. I feel that like they're just hard work. Do you know what I mean? Like I love them to death, right? But my wife's nephews, well, my nephews, but her sister's kids, they're lovely. But sometimes I'll be sitting like me in my house, my little spare room that I use as an office is at the front of the house, and the window looks down the driveway. It's downstairs, and sometimes I would look out on a Saturday and I'd see our sister getting out of the car and opening the car and these two kids piling out the car and be angry that they'd come to ruin me Saturday. Do you know what I mean? I'd be like, look at this tidal wave of nonsense coming up my drive to ruin me Saturday. But looking at my son, looking him in the face, he's only 2 weeks old, but looking him in the eyes, I know that when he gets to that age, I'll think he's the best thing in the world, like I do now. Do you know what I mean? But with your own kids, it's different. And that sounded terrible. My wife's sister, who has these kids, they are a nightmare. They are hard work, but she loves them to death, and she can't bear other people's kids. So I think that's what it is. It's a very selfish, this is mine, I made this is the best kind of thing.
When I first saw you, what I loved was that you entertain two different types of people. You've got the parents who sort of get the adult level to your act, but the kids just love you. And I know that's a big, important part of what you do, isn't it? That you are a variety act that families can enjoy together.
Yeah, it wasn't a conscious decision as such. I just think it's the era that I grew up in, and watching that sort of the people that are influenced by. You know, I love Tommy Cooper, I love Normal Wisdom, I love Bob Monkhouse. Bob Monkhouse was just an idol to me, all these people. So that's the generation that I grew up with. I think that defines on what you do then as well.
I just go and voice rest a lot, which is good at school.
And voice rest, does that mean silence? Absolute silence?
Absolute silence. Like you cannot speak a word.
Wow. Is that annoying? I mean, that must get you down a bit if all your friends are having fun and you're having to sit there in the corner looking bored.
Well, my mum says it quiets down the house.
I'm sure.
So
Well, less of a pain if you're silent. Is that what you're saying?
yeah.
Welcome back to Celebrity Radio. It's Alex Belfield talking to some of the world's biggest stars and some of my favourite people. And we've got one for you today. Jonathan Antoine, how are you?
I'm great. I'm glad to be here. How are you?
Well, what a lovely setting. I mean, befitting of you, a 5-star hotel, the St. Pancras, here in front of this beautiful piano. It's the perfect setting, really, because you've got class, you've got elegance, and you've got this God-given voice. Congratulations.
Oh, well, thank you so much. You're too kind. Thank you. Honestly, what more can I say? But this is an incredible place to have an interview, huh?
Beautiful, isn't it? And can I say, of all the people I've interviewed, I think you've probably got the most dedicated fans of anyone. I've done them all, from Andrea Bocelli to Sir Cliff to Scylla to all these people. You've had 170,000 hits, which is extraordinary. How have you managed to create that?
I mean, it's all about kind of curating who's in your fan base. I've had these incredible people with me from the very start, from 5 years ago now, which is crazy. And just by keeping in contact, staying normal, just being me, and, you know, loving, caring, cultivating friendship between myself and others.
So nice to see you. We've seen your story, and I think the nation has fallen in love with you, and that's interesting because I don't think you necessarily expected that, did you?
No, I was quite shocked at the reception I got and the acceptance I got. Even today, just walking down the street here, a black guy came up to me and he just said, "Kelly, can I give you a cuddle?" He said, "I'm so proud to know you, and so we followed your story. You're one very brave person, and you've made it so easy for a lot of other people." And them sort of things are really inspirational and very warming to me, because I did fear the worst.
Hello, I'm Giuseppe. I got something special for you. Ready? Uno, due, tre.
What's your real voice like when you're not in show business doing interviews like this? Are you like Joe Pasquale, where you actually sound like Barry White, a completely different person?
This is my voice.
No, but I mean that accent that you put on for show business.
I don't have an accent that I put on show business. You're talking to Gino. This is what it is.
Hi, I'm show business legend Cilla Black, and you're listening to Alex Belfield. Well, he's no Paul O'Grady, Dale Winton, or Graham Norton, is he? If you know what I'm saying.
And all that fracas about you and Chris Moyles, you went on the Richard Bacon show and said a few things. Do you regret that now?
Yes.
Oh, really?
Yes, definitely, 100%. Yeah.
So why did you do it?
You know, you don't have to say what you think, but you shouldn't say what you don't think. That's being dishonest. But you cannot say what you think.
Listen, we could do this for another hour and we've got to go now. I'm totally confused. Forgive me, I drifted off a bit then, Parky. How often did that happen with you when you looked in people's eyes and it went quiet and you thought, who am I talking to? And what did they just say?
I almost forgot. For God, can you believe it? I forgot John Wayne's name, for Christ's sake. and I had written on my crib sheet, I had written on it Duke as a guide, and I suddenly thought, well, it's not Duke Ellington, I know that for sure.
And the pressure of writing a hit, could you explain to us that pressure? Because when you're at the top, it's hard to stay there, isn't it?
We never felt that pressure because we had complete artistic freedom, obviously. After Waterloo, we had our own record company and our own studio, and there was absolutely no one breathing down our necks.
Hi, this is top showbiz comedian and showbiz darling Alan Carr, and you're listening to a man who loves nothing more than eating British organic meat. He's often found down the butcher's begging for a good ham shank, not just the butcher's either.
If we were to go out and have fun, what would make you happy? What would be a good day out for me and you?
Well, I'll go on my bike somewhere, and get out in the countryside on a nice ride on a day which is not too hot and not raining. Take my plane up, and I'd come home and watch some, TV program that I'm interested in.
All right, let's review what we've learned. The wine is horrible in this restaurant.
Horrible. I think it's more of a Shiraz rather than like a Pinot. It tastes heavy, which I don't mind heavy.
So I like a Pinot Noir as well. You like for a fruity red.
Yes.
Look who's interviewing you, love. That's all I'm saying.
I knew you were going to say that.
Hi, this is Dale Winton, and you're listening to a man who loves cleaning. Do you know he's often found having a squirt and a wipe in the morning?
Let's talk about your blue frock tonight, because I noticed your legs, Dame Edna, and they were terrific. Congratulations.
Well, my legs are beautiful, but the trouble is they taper off a bit as you move north.
Let's face it, us two talking isn't as interesting as you playing the piano, is it?
You're right.
Would you like to go back to 1975, let's say, just for a week to experience that again, or are you happy leaving that in the past?
No, I'm fine now. This is good,
One other thing that's always come through with our interviews is the kids. Is there any worse feeling than knowing you're going to have to pass on the news that you had to them?
Well, the first time was the difficult time because I didn't tell anybody about the fact that I had the tumour, and it was the night before I was due to go in surgery that I had to tell the children that I was going, and that was one of the toughest things that I've had to do. In fact, I still find it incredibly difficult to relay.
There's one final thing I'd love you to do. Would you indulge me with a few moments on the piano and just hear you play?
Thank you for the music. It's a good tune. Not a good recording, but a good song. I don't know, it's simple.
Isn't it soul-destroying, though, John, when you know you're getting out of bed in the morning to pay somebody you're no longer sleeping with? I mean, if there's not a payoff, what's the point?
Well put. Yes, it's a little disappointing at times. On the other hand, it does get you out and get you working. And what I discovered, you see, the funny thing is, Alex, my business has changed so much. I mean, 5 years ago, I earned 80% of my income in the United States, and it was from a few movies, from television, and some of those business speeches I do. And now it's completely changed. I'm earning 80% of my income outside the United States.
Can I ask you about that loneliest place in the world when you do your big punchline and no one laughs? How do you get out of that, and how does that feel?
Well, it kind of feels like your innards have been ripped out with a big fork, and how do you get over it? I think you have to act as if you don't care, because if an audience kind of gets a whiff of you deflating slightly after something hasn't worked, they're kind of losing of confidence in you, kind of just runs away, and they just kind of give up on you.
When you walk into a supermarket and you see the line of 10 newspapers and you're on the front of all of them, does that ever become normal?
Never. Absolutely never. I mean, particularly with X Factor, I feel like one part of a very big machine that's moving around. It's incredible, the love for this show around the country.
Would you also like us to know that you've got a brain and that isn't you? Is that what this is about, the next step in your career?
You'll never catch me writing one of those autobiography books. That will never, ever happen.
Hi, I'm Tito Jackson. Listen to Alex Belfield.
It's much better now, and I'm back on the tennis court.
Let's play a track from this new album then. It's called Bold as Brass. My favourite, I Just Want to Make Love to You. Not in a mucky way, I mean in a manly kind of way through the record. Shall we play it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you still get upset when you go into a restaurant and you charge 20 quid for a meal that's only worth £5, regardless of how rich you are? Does that still bother you?
Well, I think it doesn't matter how rich you are. No one likes being ripped off, okay? And so you won't find me going to places where I'm going to lead with my chin and get ripped off. I just won't go there.
They really go to great pains to make us gorgeous sausages, and the more people keep buying these cheap, nasty ones, the worse off it's going to be. Plus, we've done a whole bunch of dance stuff with the sausages as well.
Have you dancing sausages?
No, sausage chili char, darling. We've got a whole stream of glamorous recipes. The sausage strudel waltz, mambo sausages and mash.
Oh, stop! This is too much.
It's gorgeous. You can get it on the website www.britishsausageweek.com.
Very
all of that
good
stuff.
Before we go, I have 2 words for you.
Anne Widdecombe.
Yes.
And 2 right packets.
Hiya, I'm Ricky Tomlinson. Now, I've been listening to Alex Belfield on the radio for years, and he really is the most talented, entertaining, attractive, unique broadcaster I have ever worked with or met in my entire career. My ass.
They give you some corking lines. I mean, I always love it when you've got a Nuts magazine in your hand because there's going to be a joke there somewhere, isn't there?
I often have nuts in my hand. They're very good for you, apparently. No, yeah, they do. I think in a way, when you first go into the street, and this is what Patty's done very successfully, is they don't always know what they've got. They don't always know where they're going to go with the writing. So anybody new comes in, I say, try and be daring.
To put it bluntly, standing on a stage holding a guitar in front of a lot of people, I suppose is quite a, sexual experience, if you like. When you're younger, it's sort of, it's probably quite an appealing sort of element to it.
Do you wish you could go back to those days now in terms of your fame, aside from the obvious?
I'm not quite sure where this is going, Alex.
Can you be in show business, look like you and I, and actually get the ladies?
I have to fight them off, to be honest. I do. I have to fight them off. It's terrible. It's embarrassing. Do you know what I mean? I say, put it away, love. Stop it. Oh, it's terrible. And to be literally being introduced by Peter Kay while he's pinching my bum just before I go on stage. Those are the things that I'm going to remember when I'm old and grey. Do you know what I mean?
I'm just going to make a note of that. Peter pinched Rick Astley's bum.
I pinched his as well a couple of times, to be honest. But
I think you've got the bigger job, if you know what I'm saying.
Hey, now then, steady.
You decided to come out and let us know how she was. Do you think that was the right move or the wrong move, looking back on it?
Well, you know what? I just did the best that I could at the time. It was a difficult time for me, and it was literally a tabloid war. And the only way that I could get my message across was basically to respond in the press. But that doesn't always work either. But, with the benefit of hindsight, who knows? It's never going to happen again. That's the thing, because she's not going to be in that situation again.
Hi, I'm Colin Nolan. You're listening to Alex Belfield, the man with the man boobs.
I walked through the door here at the Venetian, and the first thing I hear is, if it weren't for us, there wouldn't be the Beatles. What were you talking about?
Oh boy, here we go. No, we were talking about we were forced into trying to do what everyone else was doing when we first had success, and that was perform, say, like the Four Tops, get out with the microphone, do the choreography, and so on. And we tried it one time, and the promoter nearly was annihilated.
I think a great song is always a great song. I really think that's the way it starts. It's to have a hit record, you have to have a hit song. You can have a great production and a great performance and an incredible arrangement.
Are you glad you were born when you were? Because if I think about the films you've been in, if we look at the Monty Python stuff, throwing cows over walls and getting the French to slag us off, nobody's going to commission that. Faulty Towers.
No, you're absolutely right, Alex, and that's what I talk about in the show. I say this could never have happened these days because everything costs so much, and all the people in charge are very anxious and don't want to take risks. I tell you, I was very lucky, and so were the others, the Pythons and Faulty Towers too. We were working at absolutely the best time to be working in English television.
I want to talk to you about being cute and being in London and being a media tart. That didn't really do you any harm, did it?
What do you mean? Tell me what you mean. I don't think I'm particularly cute or attractive.
Not now, but 10 years ago.
Not now.
And we all know how the game is played in London. It's about the headlines and being seen. And meeting people like Chris Evans doesn't do you any harm.
I'm under no illusion that there is a possibility that I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing today if I had not been married to him.
I want to talk to you about Tony Blair and why you needed to have debates with him whilst he was naked.
I didn't need to, but I did.
I can't understand under any circumstances why you would need to see another man naked whilst doing government business. That seems curious.
You're probably referring to a time, I think, in Northern Ireland where he was in the bath.
Correct.
And the Northern Ireland peace process was 24/7. So I don't think it's a very big deal.
Do you know, I was asked to pose topless just recently for the very first time, 51. Well, admittedly, it was for my mammogram, but nevertheless, there you go, an old joke.
Hi, I'm Fern Britton, and you're listening to Alex Belfield. Ready, steady, now switch off your radio and never listen to this rubbish again. No, I don't mean that.